My wife cheated on me with my boss, but they made one huge mistake. My name is Ethan, and until last year, I thought I had a pretty good life. I was 32, working at a marketing firm that paid well, and I had been married to my wife Lexa for 5 years. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. At least, that's what I believed. Lexa and I met in college. She was smart, ambitious, and full of energy. I admired how determined she was to build a successful life. When we got married, we promised each other we would grow together. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Lexa started coming home later and later. At first, she said she was meeting friends. Then it became networking events. Eventually, she stopped giving explanations altogether. Whenever I asked where she had been, she would roll her eyes and say I was being paranoid. At the same time, my boss, Stone, began acting strangely around me. Stone was the type of boss everyone respected. Confident, successful, always talking about loyalty and teamwork. He had even promoted me to a position where I had access to some of the company's financial systems. I trusted him completely. But looking back now, there were signs. Stone would sometimes ask strange questions about my personal life. Other times, he would suddenly send me home early for no reason. At the time, I thought he was just being a generous boss. But one evening changed everything. That day, our office meeting ended earlier than expected. I decided to go home and surprise Lexa. Maybe we could order dinner and spend some time together like we used to. But the moment I opened the apartment door, something felt wrong. The lights were dim. Soft music was playing in the living room. And on the dining table were 2 glasses of wine. Lexa usually drank wine only when we had guests. My chest tightened. Then I saw it. A man's jacket hanging over the chair. My heart started pounding. Slowly, I walked toward the bedroom. Every step felt heavier than the last. And when I opened the door, I saw something that shattered my entire world. My wife Lexa was in bed, with my boss Stone. They were so lost in the moment that they didn't even notice me standing there. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. Then Lexa suddenly looked up. The color drained from her face. Stone turned around and saw me too. The room went silent. Lexa started panicking immediately. She jumped up, grabbing the blanket and trying to cover herself. "Ethan, wait! It's not what it looks like." But we both knew that was a lie. Stone didn't even try to apologize. He just stared at me like he had already won. In that moment, something inside me changed. I didn't yell, didn't fight, didn't break anything. Instead, I just turned around and walked out. That night I drove around the city for hours. Anger, humiliation, betrayal, all of it mixed together in my head. But eventually the anger faded, and something else replaced it. Focus. Because my boss had made one very big mistake. In my position at the company, I had access to internal financial reports and records, and over the next few weeks I started paying closer attention to them. At first it was just curiosity, but the deeper I looked, the more suspicious things became. Expense reports that didn't make sense, large payments to unknown vendors, transfers between accounts that had no explanation. So I began collecting evidence, emails, financial statements, transaction records. The more I uncovered, the more shocking it became. Stone had been committing massive financial fraud. He had been secretly moving company money through fake accounts for years, millions of dollars, and nobody had caught him. While Stone and Lexa were busy destroying my marriage, they had no idea what I was quietly discovering. Once I had enough proof, I did something he never expected. I sent everything directly to the company's board of directors, and I also reported it to the authorities. Then I waited. Within weeks, the company launched an investigation. Stone was suddenly called into meetings with executives. People in the office started whispering. Then one morning, the announcement came. Stone had been fired immediately. Not long after that, the authorities opened a formal investigation into the fraud. His reputation collapsed overnight. Everything he had built, his career, his power, his image, was gone. Stone's career collapsed almost overnight. The investigation exposed years of fraud, and he was fired immediately. Within weeks, his name was everywhere in industry news. The man who once walked around the office like he owned the world suddenly had nothing left? And Lexa? At first, she stayed with him. I heard from mutual friends that she moved into his apartment after everything happened. Maybe she thought they could start over together. But when Stone's money and reputation disappeared, their relationship started falling apart. They argued constantly. Friends said the same thing kept coming up in their fights. If you could cheat with me, you could cheat on me. Trust was gone before their relationship even began. Within a few months, they broke up. Stone was dealing with legal problems and trying to save what little was left of his life. And Lexa? She had burned every bridge she had. Most of our friends stopped talking to her. Her reputation spread quickly in our social circle, and eventually she lost the job she had been working so hard to climb in. One day, she tried reaching out to me. She sent a long message asking if we could meet and talk. She said she just wanted the chance to apologize face to face, but I never replied. Some things don't deserve closure. Through friends, I later heard what happened to her. After the breakup, Lexa struggled a lot. She moved from place to place trying to rebuild her life, but things kept getting worse. About 5 months later, something tragic happened. She was involved in a serious car accident. She survived, but the injuries were severe, and she ended up in a coma. When I heard the news, I didn't feel anger anymore, just silence. Because life has a strange way of delivering consequences. Sometimes karma doesn't come in the way we expect. Sometimes it's not loud. Sometimes it's just the slow realization that one decision can destroy everything you once had. And by the time you understand it, it's already too late. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy stories about betrayal, karma, and real-life drama, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more.